Hi everyone. I hope that you're all well and safe during this confusing time. Today, I'm just really looking forward to talking to you as part of the Elevate program to talk through my career journey into BT so far. I hope that by the end of this talk, you'll be inspired to create your own career path, whatever that may be. I also wanted to say a massive thank you to Trevor for inviting me to be a part of this. I'm really looking forward to chatting to you today. So just as a bit of an introduction, hello everyone, my name is Pauline Narvas, and I always find it quite difficult to introduce myself because I like to wear a lot of different hats. So I think just to start off, I just wanted to say and put out there that I believe that we are all more than our job titles. So whenever I introduce myself, I like to bring in other areas of my life into like talks like these because I think it is really important to see like all the different aspects there is to someone. So if I was to boil everything down to like maybe like three things, they have to be I am a blogger, so that's what the first picture represents. This has been a hobby of mine for the last few years, and it's been a place for me to write about my personal and professional development and growth. It's also been a great place for me to document and reflect on like things I've learned recently, but also to share things that I really enjoy. So I write a lot about tech, I write a lot about science, I write a lot about like health and well-being, and it's pretty much just been a huge part of my identity. Even before BT, so I always like to mention that. And obviously the photo in the middle is representing me as a graduate. So I'm currently on the BT graduate scheme. I'm about to roll off this September, which I'm very excited about, but also very terrified because as of right now, I'm not too sure exactly where I'm going to go. But again, we'll go into that a bit more later. And for the last hat that I like to wear, it's my advocate hat. So over the last few years, I've spent a lot of time advocating for better opportunities for women and people of colour in the STEM field. So the STEM field is science, technology, engineering, and maths. So I've worked with like loads of different organisations and groups within the local but also global communities to help bridge these inequalities in tech. So just a few examples, we've got Code First Girls, Empowering Women with Tech, Leeds Digital, and just a lot more. So this has been a huge passion of mine, which actually stemmed from the fact that when I was younger, I felt like there were barriers into tech for me, which led me to moving into a different subject matter at university, which I'll go into in the next slide. But yeah, this is me. I'm literally loads of people like think of me as just all over the place because I think I am sort of all over the place. But these are my three main hats, and yeah, I hope that gives you a good introduction to me. So onto my background. So my career background started from when I was 8 years old. I like to share my story from this very early stage because this is actually where my interest in tech started. So when I was around 8 years old, I spent a lot of time in my parents' computer. I started to discover my love for coding through actually gaming. So I was playing this game called RuneScape, and there was like loads of things I didn't really enjoy about the game. So I decided that since it was an online game, there must be a way for me to rebuild it online myself. And since it was hosted on the website, I was like, cool, I need to learn how to build a website. So that's what I did. And from learning how to build a website, I slowly just became accustomed to like learning how to code. It was literally loads of trial and error, because back then there wasn't a lot of like resources compared to right now. Like when you Google how to code or how to build a website, there's all sorts of like resources. But back then when I was learning, there wasn't much around. So yeah, it was a lot of just being patient with yourself and learning that actually, I'm building this for fun. At the time, I didn't really think much about like my career, but those foundations of having this hobby really, like later on, helped me in terms of looking for a role. So at GCSEs, actually, I took a computing subject, but when I walked in, I was actually quite put off by the lack of girls that were in the room, and it was one of those moments where you just felt so out of place because no one else looked like you. And I remember like I had a few people saying some like mean things and saying like, you don't belong in this class because look around you, there's only boys. And even people who weren't actually in the class themselves, people were like, why are you even doing that subject, Pauline? You should be doing something else. So from that, it was quite a negative experience. So by the time it got to A levels and I had to choose like my options, I decided that, okay, what other subject do I really enjoy? And at the time it was biology. Also, my parents did suggest that I go into the medical route because my family has a history of medical professionals, but also they were really excited for the potential of having a doctor in the family, and they thought that was me. Sorry to disappoint. So yeah, I decided to go in to A levels, and I did like chemistry, biology, and sociology. And at the time, I just had no real idea what I wanted to do, so I sort of just went with what my parents were saying. And I just feel like, I was too young to really think about all my options, and there wasn't a lot of support back then in terms of like having talks like these from professionals in various different industries. So I just didn't really know. So yeah, I was pretty much geared towards a medicine related career, but I actually ended up failing my med exam. It's like the pre-med exam before you get into medicine. So I opted in for the next best thing, which was doing biomedical sciences at university. I had like this sort of like 5-year plan where after I finished my biomed degree, my 3-year biomed degree, I'd go into postgrad medicine and then just go and see what happens from there. But yeah, when I joined my when I entered university in 2014, I went to the University of Sheffield, which is a great university, by the way. Yeah, I did biomed there, and I slowly started to realise that actually I wasn't enjoying the degree, and the prospects of going into medicine or even research just wasn't appealing to me. So I actually was super unmotivated for the next like 2 years in first year and second year at university, because I just didn't want to do it. So during this period though, like from the start of university to like getting my role and graduating from university, I really grew as a person. So around like 2016, an email popped up on my in my inbox, and it was related to an all-female coding class. And this was organised by the organisation called Code First Girls, and I like to thank them for most of my like career growth and progression, especially at the start, because they were definitely like one of the main drivers that really inspired me. So Code First Girls, they were running these coding courses at the University of Sheffield, and at this point I wasn't really doing much with like websites. I wasn't really coding that much because I sort of put that away to one side as I focused on studying. So when this email came through, I was like, wow, an all girls coding class. That was just really strange to me, because this whole time I've always just been coding alone, or the other time I was coding with other people, it was just a group of boys at GCSE levels. So I was like, why not? I'm not very motivated by my degree right now. Why can't I get involved with like a community or like a course alongside my studies? So I joined this community with Code First Girls, and it really did change my life. I basically came into the class and I sort of had fundamentals already down with like web development, but I still ended up learning so much more from other people. And by the time the courses finished, I actually they were looking for ambassadors and instructors to help teach future courses, and immediately I was like, yes, please get me involved because this is right up my street. I want to help other people learn how to code. And it also was just, it became like a cute little community that I could go and just be 100% myself. So that was really pivotal for me. And I ended up teaching Code First Girls classes for the next like 3 years. The whole community actually inspired me and gave me confidence to look at different career options in tech. So at the time, it was around like I was doing loads of different. I really just put myself forward, and I went into like random internships around the Sheffield area. So I signed up to different agencies, and I was like, do you have space for a budding web developer to do a web development experience? And I ended up getting a few internships throughout the summer and throughout Easter break, and it really just helped me build upon my skills and understand how the industry works. In addition to that, I got really involved with all the different technical communities in Sheffield, and that really just sparked my passion for tech. And at this point, I was like, I think this is where I want to be. I think I want to pursue this career in technology. I want to learn more about different coding languages, and I want to know how the industry works. So I chased after all these different internships and placements related to tech, and I ended up doing all sorts of different things. So I actually did a year-long placement where it was a communications and engagement placement, but I ended up like, because it was the first I was the first placement student to take on that placement, so I ended up really like making it my own. So with my existing technical knowledge, I ended up being put on like web development projects, but also ended up like working with really cool tech, including VR and AR, to help like the educational curriculum at university. So I did all sorts of stuff, and it was really, really positive for me because I ended up really understanding what I wanted to do. And it was nice because like around this time, it really just helped me, it motivated me to help like close the gap in tech as well, because I was almost completely put off when I was growing up. But then the more I sort of went into the technical communities and looked at people in the industry, I realized that this was a problem, not just the schools, but also in the industry. And that really motivated me to like help as much as I can. So around like 2014 to like around 2018, I just was really, really involved in the tech community. And by the time I graduated, I was looking for a technical role. So at the time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do because I had so much like different skills and different experiences. So I decided that a graduate scheme might be the best for me because I really wanted that variety. So this BT graduate scheme came up. I applied to it, not really knowing what I would get out of it. But yeah, I ended up getting a place in the digital engineering graduate scheme, which was just perfect for me because it's the department that focuses on all our digital platforms. So right now it's websites like ee.co.uk, but also like bt.co.uk. So it's just a perfect placement and perfect graduate scheme for me. And I'll talk more about that in the next few slides. But yeah, that's my whole background in a nutshell. There's a lot to unpack there, but I do want to like highlight that between like that university period, that's where I learned the most about myself. So let's move on to what it's like at BT. So, like I said, I'm on a 2-year graduate scheme with BT in digital engineering, and this is what my 2 years looks like. So, my first rotation, so basically, like the structure of the graduate scheme is you have 4 different rotations lasting 6 months each for 2 years. So, I'm on that final rotation 4 bit now where I then roll off in September. So my first rotation I was part of the digital architecture team within digital engineering, and this was focused more on like early engagement, looking at new ideas coming into the business and seeing how they fit into our current like architecture within the digital platforms. So that was really exciting because it gave me a really good high level view of how everything works. My next 6 months I worked in the My EE web tribe, and this was like a really cool team because I actually got involved in the technical aspects of things and contributing to the code base. And this was where I joined a small team within digital engineering. They call them squads. So I was in a small squad where I was essentially acting like a junior front-end developer, where I picked up tickets to help improve the UI for the MyEE platform. So for those who don't know, the MyEE platform is part of the EE website. So if you're an EE customer, you can then log in to your own like MyEE section where you can look at your bills, you can look at like all the different offers and add-ons. So yeah, I worked in that team, and it was really fun because like it was my first time contributing to such a huge code base, and luckily I actually had a bit of experience doing like front-end development, so that's where I really it was my comfort zone. And then for my third rotation, I decided that I wanted to challenge myself because the graduate scheme has so many opportunities, and you should always wherever you can really push yourself and challenge yourself. So in my third rotation in platform services, this was looking more at the infrastructure of the digital platform. So essentially it's where we host the website. So this team looked at the infrastructure and how like we could take care of it and making sure that it's all running properly in production, but also our like non-prod environments. It was the rotation that challenged me the most because I learned so much about a different aspect of tech that I've never ever looked at. And this includes stuff like cloud computing, infrastructure as code, coding like Python, Terraform, Packer, and all of those like different tech it's sort of all the new tech that everyone is talking about right now. I had no idea. I came in with zero knowledge, but I really learned a lot in my 6 months. And in those 6 months, I also got my first professional qualification as an AWS certified cloud practitioner, which was very exciting. I'm really proud of myself for getting that. And now I'm in the SRE, which is the Site Reliability Engineering team, which is basically a spin-off of the platform services team, where again we look at the infrastructure, so where our websites are hosted, and just finding ways to like improve the processes and improve it using metrics and data. So right now we're looking into like 2 main things. We're looking into security of our current platforms, but also cost optimization of the different servers that we have in the cloud. It's all really, really exciting stuff, completely new team. And again, I think I've really thrown myself in the deep end here, but I'm really, really enjoying it. I think the thing I enjoy the most about the graduate scheme, especially this digital engineering graduate scheme, is the variety that you get. So like I started my graduate scheme doing a digital architecture rotation, which is like looking at propositions and then moving on to more technical areas. And I think that was amazing because now I have a really good insight of the whole development cycle from start to finish. So from idea to going onto the website so that customers can actually use all of the new features that we've built. So that's really exciting, and every single day is completely different, which is really fun. Outside of the graduate scheme, outside the day to day, my 2 years hasn't just been about coding and learning how the day to day works, but being a graduate at BT also means that you have a huge opportunity to really drive your career and grab different opportunities. So these are just a few things I've got involved in whilst on the graduate scheme, which has really helped keep it really nice and fresh every single day, because there's all sorts of different stuff that you can get involved with. So this was a recent thing. The first picture was when I spoke at the International Women's Day BT event in London. So this was such a fantastic opportunity for me to talk about a huge passion of mine, which is being an advocate for women in tech and creating these opportunities for them. It was a fantastic event, and I had the chance to speak alongside some incredible women across the business, but also outside of BT, which was amazing. I also had the chance to be part of several newspapers, actually. So I had the opportunity to share my story of getting into technology, and this was shared all over the country, which was still insane to me. So I was featured in the Daily Mirror, the Yorkshire Post, and several other the Sun, and several other newspaper articles. It was such an amazing opportunity to really elevate my voice and empower other people who are also looking for some inspiration in terms of their career. So I also got involved with several different courses. So when you're a BT graduate, you get put in different courses that help you build on leadership skills, communication skills, how to present, and all of them have been a fantastic opportunity to really build myself as a person, but also in the professional world. And I also had the opportunity to look at the wider community in Leeds and see how BT can collaborate with all these different organizations to help improve digital skills, but also improve diversity in tech. So we did a few events. So one of them that you can see on the slide is the Hack Day event. So we ran a 24-hour hackathon at Leeds University, where we had all the different students come together to solve a problem, which was improving using the power of communications to create a better world. That was our challenge, and all these different students ran with the challenge, and they came up with some incredible stuff. I also got involved with things like Techie Tea Party, where we help improve digital skills for older people, but also people who didn't really know how to use tech. And a personal favorite of mine on the top right-hand corner is when I was involved in the BT Beyond Limits rebrand. So this was when BT rebranded with the Beyond Limits campaign, and I was asked to be part of the video, and it's literally just a 10-second clip of me writing on the board, but it was so cool. And BT is that huge that you have that opportunity to really explore what is out there. So yeah, that's what life at BT is like. On to my top career tips. So the first one is to make sure that you do your research. Make sure that you research the industry you're interested in, the roles you're interested in, and just about yourself. So what I do is I've created a document about myself, which sounds quite weird, but it has been really useful when I'm applying for roles. So what you do is you just create everything you enjoy, everything you don't enjoy, the skills that you think you're good at, and things that you can improve. And then as you're researching the roles you're interested in or the industry you're interested in, you can then start forming a skills matrix on what sort of roles might fit better for you. So for me, I knew that I was really interested in improving my technical abilities. I already had some foundational knowledge, but I really wanted to improve on them. So when I went to interviews, I made sure that this was communicated really clearly, that I had a bit of experience learning different web development frameworks. But there's still a huge gap there. I'm still willing to learn, and then yeah, like this really helps me when I was going through interviews. So make sure you just do your research. It just really helps you in the long run. The earlier you start, the better. I created my document back at university because I was just so confused and so overwhelmed by like what I wanted to do. So having this career document can help just like narrow your options down until you find like the perfect thing for you. But it's also worth bearing in mind that over the years you do change, and you know your skills change. So don't just a document isn't like is like an evolving thing. So it will change with time, and yeah, that's just something to bear in mind as you continue to do your research. Another thing on like researching about yourself, one thing that really helped me was doing these like personality quizzes. I know that sounds really weird, but I took the Myers-Briggs 16 personalities test, and that helped give me like an insight of like, you know, what sort of roles were for me. I didn't base my whole like career path based on what I read on that personality test, but it's just a really good indicator as to where you are at that moment. And again, you can do it again in the next few years and see how much you've changed. And it's just a really good self-development tool that I recommend to everyone. Another thing is to make sure that you build your network. So use social media, use Twitter, LinkedIn to connect with people in the industries you're interested in. So for me, what I did was when I got involved and started being interested in tech, I made sure that I followed the different people in the technical space on Twitter. I also connected with several different people on LinkedIn in the tech space, and I actually ended up opening up conversations with them through Twitter, through social media, just asking them like a few questions about what it's like working in the field, what do you expect as a junior developer, and all sorts of stuff. And loads of people are more than happy to help. So it was just really fantastic because it gave you a good insight of what it's like to work at certain companies or to work in certain roles. And also like another way you can build your network is to attend events. Right now, with the whole COVID situation, it's quite difficult to attend events in person, but there's loads of online events that are running right now, and these could include like careers fairs, open days, and meetups, and there's just such a good opportunity to learn from like leaders in the field, but also like build your network and, you know, connecting with people who are, you know, who attended the same meetup as you and the same events. And I think like most of my career progression is thanks to like my network that I managed to like build up over time. That started really at university when I started connecting with all the different communities. So having this network really helped me, because during my job search it was getting quite difficult, but when I looked at different roles in different companies, it was nice to know that I knew someone who worked in that company, so I could just chat to them about their experience, their career experience and stuff. So yeah, I really recommend that you build your network early. I'm going to put my LinkedIn details and my Twitter details at the end of this talk, so if you do want to connect and start a conversation with me around tech and other things, I'm more than happy to like connect you with other people in the field. And my last main tip would be to be open to opportunities. So just really put yourself out there and explore all the different opportunities. Like I said at the start, I did all sorts of different like placements and internships, some of them that aren't even relevant right now, but all of them built up like my character. This helped just put myself out there and build a name for myself. So I think it is really important just to like dip your feet in like several different things and then see what works for you. I think that is such a huge thing, and related to that would be like building an online presence, because putting yourself out there is difficult, but having an online presence can really, really help with that. But that is a whole separate talk I could go on and on about. But yeah, those are my main 3 tips. So do your research, build your network, and be open to all different types of opportunities. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I've popped my email address on there and my LinkedIn and Twitter. So if you do want to connect and have a chat around your different career pathways, or just to have a chat around careers in general, let me know. I'm more than happy to help, and good luck. Thank you.